All right, welcome to the Modern Nurse Podcast. My name is Emily Knife, and I am your host today. And today we have somebody very special with us. He is an ER nurse. He is also a travel and points coach. Michael, welcome to the show. It's so awesome to have you on here.
Thanks, Emily. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, so Michael Gandera is also an ER nurse, so he didn't just up and run from nursing. He is still very active in the nursing community, but he also does a really cool thing on the side to make a little extra money and to actually travel the world, right? Is that right? So where was the last place you went to that you traveled to?
So the last place is actually the place I'm at currently is Hawaii. So I'm doing a travel nursing assignment here, but we use points and miles to get here and in order to travel to the other islands, save money on hotels there. So it's been a lot easier doing that and saving money doing so.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I think what a highlight and such a cool way to monetize for other travel nurses that might not be really in tune or aware that they could be doing this. So, how did you really get into this whole points and mileage system?
Yeah, I kind of got into it, I would say out of necessity in a way, or just kind of desire. So my wife, my now wife, she was then my girlfriend. We were talking about what we wanted out of life, and she wanted to go to, Alaska to see the Northern Lights, safari in Africa,
Oh
all
my
these like
gosh.
big, beautiful things. I was like, that's awesome. I was just thinking about going to Washington, D.C. or or Washington in general and see some cool places there. But I was like, okay, those are very expensive. And so I tried looking to figure out how to pay for these things and stumbled across points and miles in terms of paying for flights and hotels. And so I learned everything I could and then started putting some of these things into practice. And we have been able to go to Alaska. We saw the Northern Lights. That was like our first big trip together, which is pretty crazy. And then we also went to Hawaii, Italy, all this different stuff. And so it's kind of based out of that. How do I make my wife, my future wife, happy? That I learned about this. And so I really just kind of learned everything I could over the internet and just kind of been building from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So have you ever always been, or have you always been savvy in the personal finance section? Because I know a lot of nurses, we are not very savvy when it comes to finances or even to think that we could even make money elsewhere, right? So have you always
Right.
been very savvy in the personal finances?
So growing up, I've saved okay. I wasn't
Yeah.
super, my family was kind of like a regular family, spending and all that good stuff. But after I graduated college, I did kind of go on like a personal finance journey, just kind of found some blogs, listened to some podcasts. And I did go through like a whole process of like, budgeting, Dave Ramsey, getting out of debt and all that good stuff. And then I got into like Mr. Money Mustache and all these other FIRE, the financial independence, retire early movement stuff. And so I got interested in that. I never went hardcore full fire, kind of living on nothing. But I did go through those steps. And so that set up like a good financial foundation for me. I learned about points and miles, or like I heard about it like early on after college, but I was like, I'm not really ready to travel like to all these crazy places right now. I was still trying to figure out my life and all that good stuff. And so I kind of skipped it and wrote it off. And I just got like a cash back card for quite a long time.
Okay.
And so I did have that financial background. I think that is very important if someone is trying to get into points and miles for travel, because that is a necessity essentially. It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You
Yeah.
got your financial background, you got to pay off your debt, you got to save for retirement, need an emergency savings fund, have all those things figured out. And then like the credit card rewards, like the self-actualization. So
Wow.
grateful I got that out early.
Yeah. That's so, I love how you make that adjustment with the Maslow's hierarchy. What a cool concept to think about. And that how the credit card points or the rewards are like the self-actualization. It's like the reward of actually figuring out your finances and getting it in a
Yes,
line that you
exactly.
can, enjoy those. That's so cool. Wow, that's amazing. So, so if I'm a travel nurse and say, I've never been involved in any of this, and I do want to get into some points and rewards. What is the
Mhm.
best way to go about that? And say that I want to work with you. Do you offer something that would help me kind of learn about that?
For sure, yeah. So in terms of which credit card I would recommend, there's kind of two camps to go about this. And generally, I do recommend kind of figuring out what destinations you want to go to, like have your bucket
Okay.
list. Like I have a whole four-step process, write out your bucket list, figure out how to get there using points and miles, and then work backwards to figure out which credit card you should get. However,
Okay.
if you don't have any credit cards that earn rewards, I kind of prefer you to kind of hold that for a second, get a single credit card rewards card, and then kind of use that, start figuring out how to use a credit card, earn some points using that card, and then kind of work backwards. And so I have a YouTube channel that will kind of teach you everything, essentially everything you need to know about points and miles. But if you wanted to kind of skip the whole learning curve, because there is somewhat of a learning curve to kind of figure out every little detail, I do offer one-on-one consultation services, so we can kind of do that whole process of working backwards, and I can just kind of tell you this is actually the right credit card for you. But for most people, like 80 to 90% of people, there are kind of two premium travel cards that can easily be used. Those would be the Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Capital One Venture X. And so I could tell you all about these cards, but it would kind of seem like a big advertisement. But those two, the Chase Sapphire card, those rewards are very easy to use, very easy to figure out. To get decent value from it, I like to use those points specifically for hotels. And then the Capital One points that you get with the Venture X, that card is a kind of a more luxury card. You get some extra benefits like lounge access and all that good stuff. But it's easy to get good value from the annual fee. And I like to use those points specifically for flights.
Okay. All right. Wow. That's so cool. I love it. You almost use like the nursing process a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's like you know what you want to do. It's like the patient has this problem, right? And then we kind of have to work
Mhm.
backwards in order to figure out, oh, I love this. This is so cool. So, all right. So you're using the nursing process, which all nurses can do. So it's not that it's hard. It's just that you have to kind of educate yourself, right? And learn these different techniques, just as we
Right.
did in nursing school. So any nurse can do this.
Absolutely.
And so what do you think? So, as a travel nurse, how do you think it has helped you the most using this kind of reward and point system? What's some of the positives that have come from that for you as a travel nurse?
Yeah, so I will kind of say this. This is my first travel assignment, so I'm not like a
Yeah.
long-term travel nurse or anything
Okay.
like that. But like kind of the most biggest benefits I got was just how easy it is for me to get back home if I wanted to travel, or if I wanted to visit family. And so like if something were to happen, I'm far away in Hawaii. I'm from Texas, and so it's a long ways
Okay.
home. It's not like a quick flight to California or anything like
Right.
that. But I have a stack of rewards that I can use just to get back to family, like if something were to happen, or I could take a trip to Asia pretty easily from here. It's just like having that flexibility and just knowing that I can get to where I need to go if something were to hit the fan.
Yeah.
Um, and then, there travel nursing, there are a lot of expenses, and so that could be nice to earn a lot of rewards. And so
Yeah.
that's been beneficial there just to earn money like on airfare, different, I'm spending a lot of money just on vacations, like little tours and stuff like that. So being able to earn
Yeah.
some extra points and knowing about this and knowing how to maximize that as much as possible will help me on future flights and vacations as well.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So kind of piggybacking on the travel nursing. I did travel nursing, but I wasn't flying anywhere. It was literally
Mm,
down the street. I I was fulfilling an assignment. But the travel nurses like yourself that are flying and traveling to different
mhm.
places, can we use those cards that we get points and rewards on? Can we use that for the reimbursables through the travel company, so as nurses, we can get like mileage or food and stuff like comped. Can you
Mhm.
use those cards in order to pay for your meals and things and then kind of send in a receipt to the company to be like, you owe me this amount? Or how does that work for like travel
Yeah,
rewards, I guess?
from what I understand, I don't think it matters how you pay for those things.
Okay.
So if it's a debit card or credit card, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, you can like piggyback and stack those, the reimbursements and uh, of the rewards on that whatever you're paying for essentially. Like for rent here, I have to pay, I pay my rent back home and I pay this one. This rent is more expensive than what I'm paying back home. And I do
Okay.
have a built rewards card, that credit card specifically that earns points on rent. And so I'm able to pay my rent with that credit card. And so I get some extra points by paying my more expensive rent here. Um,
Wow.
yeah. And so that was one benefit of paying two rents, I guess. I was able to pick and choose which one was more expensive and earn rewards there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Um,
It's like such a game. I mean, as
it is.
life, right? Like,
Yes.
so do you have any like cheat codes? I guess that would be helpful in either getting cards or using the cards, or even how best to use the cards to kind of cheat our way into getting more points and rewards. So what are some of those kind of cheat codes that you would suggest?
Sure. Yeah. So I will say it is very easy to like gamify this. And so that's kind of where
Yeah.
the credit cards is kind of, you like them because you can earn these rewards, but you also got to be careful because they are gamifying this. They do
Yeah.
want you to spend and all these different stuff. So you got to be careful with that. But there are all kinds of cards. And one great way to get maximum value out of this is kind of pick the cards that earn the most amount of points for what you're spending every day. So if you spend a
Okay.
lot on groceries or a lot on restaurants, there are good cards that are great for restaurants or for gas, etc.,
Okay.
that earn lots of points. However, those cards can be in different ecosystems, we call them, like
Okay.
different credit card companies, and they earn different types of miles, and then you'll just be spread too thin, and you can't really use them for much. So you'll kind of want to, generally, it's a good idea to focus on one or two different credit card companies. And so just kind of tell you, there's really like six different programs that earn the types of points that are best to earn. And those are
Okay.
going to be like Chase, American Express, Capital One, Citi, Built Rewards, and Wells Fargo.
Okay.
And so try, Chase and Capital One are good to start off with. American Express is very popular. They have a very strong marketing team. Um, but there are several reasons why I wouldn't recommend starting off with them. It's kind of complicated to get maximum value, and it's very easy for them to get value out of you as a customer.
Oh, yeah.
So sticking with one or two Chase cards, like the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Chase Freedom Unlimited, that's a no annual fee card. So those are two cards that can help you maximize the number of points that you're earning. And the Built Rewards card is another addition that works well with a lot of the other card systems that we talked about.
Wow. Yeah. That's
And so,
yeah, that's very interesting. I think you make a good point. I think maybe kind of starting out, right? Just like sticking with one and then building your
mhm.
way up and not spreading yourself too thin because I think as nurses, like we jump into things because we're nurses and we're like, I want to
Yes,
go all in, right? So now I have like 8 credit cards.
yes,
So
yes,
yeah, so just calm down, nurse. It's okay. We'll get you
right.
there. We'll get you the rewards points. But yeah, so this is so cool that you've taken something. And so I love that story of how you got into this. And so what does the future look like for you with this kind of business that you've created just because of your wife? So thanks to your wife, you can tell us we
Right.
said thank you because now you're an educator, a nurse educator, educating the
Yes,
world, right? And that's so cool.
right.
So what's the future look like for this business for you?
Yeah, so I'm always kind of, my mind is working faster than I can, unfortunately.
Right.
So I start off with this YouTube channel, which is essentially supposed to be kind of like a one-stop shop. Like you can learn everything that you need from this YouTube channel. It's Nurse
Yeah.
Michael Travels. But I also created one-on-one consultations just so I can kind of work one-on-one. YouTube and social media, you're kind of talking to a camera, and it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little bit harder to get that one-on-one action. And then I've got the consultations, got the YouTube. And I have dabbled with the idea of starting like group trips, but that's very intimidating. That's a whole different
Wow.
process. But I don't know if that would be anytime super soon. That's kind of like just super long game, like creating this whole travel type business. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's really just kind of expanding. And right now I'm kind of just like in the growth phase, trying to figure
Yeah.
out how I can reach as many people as possible. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Uh, here.
Yes. Oh
Sorry
my
about that.
gosh.
So
That's
yeah, I'm in
okay.
the growth phase, just trying to figure out how I can reach as many people and help out as many people travel as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's so cool. I even see like brand deals happening for you. Like I'm going to see you on the next like Chase Sapphire commercial, right? Like as a nurse, like you're walking through and then you come out the other side like as not a nurse, right? Or something like I could see you getting that. So we'll just manifest that into your future. That you team
Yes.
up with them and you get a crap ton of rewards for that. Via monetary and Chase Sapphire or whatever rewards, right? So
Yes.
yeah, that's so cool. Well, awesome. So you have the YouTube, and that's Nurse Michael Travels, is that right?
Yes, Nurse Michael Travels, that's my YouTube channel. It's also my website, nursemichaeltravels.com. That kind of houses kind of everything I offer, newsletter, one-on-one services, and a bunch of freebies, free resources that I have to download as well.
Yes, awesome. Okay, great. So if you are a nurse, please hook up with him, follow him, watch all the YouTubes, learn about how you can get some stuff back. You've invested in yourself. Now it's time to get your rewards, right? So that's so
Exactly.
awesome. Well, I'm so excited to see what the future holds for you and where this takes you near and far and all around the world. And so have you done that safari trip yet? Did you go to Africa and do the safari trip?
No, not yet. So we next up on the docket here, we're going to Disney World and then we're going to France and Japan. This
Wow.
yeah, those two trips are going to be this summer. And then Safari, we're thinking probably 2026 just because of the
Okay.
time frame of when it's good to go on safari and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
yeah, so a lot of good trips, a lot of good times planned. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
that's awesome. All right. Well, great. Well, thanks for being on the Modern Nurse podcast and shelling out all the dish on the finance stuff because as nurses, we need you. We need you in our lives because nurses are just not usually financial savvy, but you can be because if you can pass the NCLEX and pass nursing school, you can totally do this.
Yes.
I don't even
Everything
know
is
where
figure
my
outable. Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing what you do in the world, and we look forward to collaborating with you in the future. So thanks again, and I hope you have an awesome day.
Thank you. You too, Emily. Thanks for having me on the podcast today.
Yeah, of course. Take care.